If you guys are ready for some super easy 5-ingredient instant pot meals, this recipe is for you. Today, we're going to be making some buffalo chicken wraps. I'm also making some homemade chicken noodle soup and some cheddar biscuits. I'm also going to share a recipe for salmon and rice with cucumber salad. We're going to be making Tuscan beef stew, all of that and more in today's video. Okay, so the next recipe that we are going to make is buffalo chicken wrap. So here I've got some flour tortillas. You can either use flour tortillas or lettuce wraps with this. And then I've also got some chicken breasts and chicken thighs. I've got 4 chicken breasts and 2 chicken thighs. I've got some blue cheese. This is optional. And then I've got some lettuce for the wraps, and then Frank's Red Hot ranch for serving, and then 1 cup of chicken broth. So if you're gonna do a true 5-ingredient meal, I would probably, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. You could definitely leave the blue cheese out, and then you could use water instead of chicken broth, and then just season it with extra salt and pepper, and then you'd have your 5 ingredients. But I just wanted to give you a couple of different options in case you want to do something different. So I've got my chicken in the bottom of my Instant Pot. I'm gonna add my 1 cup of chicken broth. I'm gonna put the lid on. And then I'm gonna cook this on manual, which is high pressure, for 12 minutes. All right, so the chicken's done. I went ahead and drained out probably about, well, almost all of the liquid except for a 1/4 cup, just to make sure it stays moist. And I'm just gonna use one of my meat choppers to shred the chicken. You could also use a hand mixer if you wanted to, but typically this is pretty tender, so it just shreds right apart using this or a couple forks. And then once that's shredded, I'm gonna stir in my 1 cup of buffalo sauce. Okay, I'm gonna add my buffalo sauce. I had a little less than 1 cup just because that's all I had left in the bottle, but it's fine. I'm just gonna stir this up, and I just have this on keep warm just to make sure that the chicken stays warm. All right, so here's how these wraps turned out. Adam says they're more like tacos, but whatever. I mean, you could put it in a big tortilla and do a wrap, but I put the buffalo chicken on there, drizzled some ranch, some extra Frank's Red Hot, and some lettuce. Like I said, you could put other things on these. I think green onion would be good, chopped tomatoes, blue cheese if you like it, otherwise regular cheese. But yeah, super easy. I cannot believe that I'm really sharing this because the recipe is so simple, but once again, 5 ingredients or less. I want to take a quick break and thank Acorn TV for sponsoring today's Instant Pot video. If you guys are not familiar with Acorn TV, they are the largest commercial-free British streaming service, and they offer compelling stories, exclusive premieres, and originals you won't find anywhere else. There's always something new to discover on Acorn TV. It has hundreds of exclusive shows from around the world, including award-winning series across genres, including mysteries, dramas, comedies, and so much more. The best part is with Acorn TV, you get access to premium commercial-free international content for a fraction of the cost compared to most streaming services at just $5.99 a month. How inexpensive is that? I don't know about you guys, but every other streaming service I have is just going up. I swear, literally month after month, the price keeps going up and up and up. So from production to performances, the series you'll find on Acorn TV are exceptional and refreshing because they are cleverly written, and Acorn TV works on all of your favorite devices. That is my favorite part, is that you can download the app or you can watch on Amazon Fire TV, Google Chromecast, Roku, and more. And you'll never run out of content because Acorn TV adds new releases every single Monday. If you're looking for a great movie to watch, I would recommend Help. I told you guys last month how I'd started watching that, and since I have finished it, it is a fantastic movie. I highly recommend it. But Acorn TV is loaded with thousands of hours of binge-worthy content. There's always something new to watch, and it's honestly refreshing to have something different to watch, especially in a time where it seems like everyone has watched virtually every show available on other platforms in the past year. Once again, Acorn TV is commercial free and available for just $5.99 a month. I really like watching it on my phone. It's super convenient and the app is really easy to use. One series I want to mention that's available is Under the Vines. They have new episodes that are releasing weekly, and the season finale has already dropped. out. This series follows two unlikely city slickers who inherit a failing vineyard in rural New Zealand. Neither of them have ever done a hard day's work in their lives, and they must somehow make the vineyard successful so they can sell, split up, and get out of there. I've watched a couple episodes of this too, and it is hilarious. So if you guys want to try Acorn TV, you can do so free for 30 days. You can go to acorn.tv and use promo code Jen. I will have a link in the description box below. Once again, try Acorn TV free for 30 days by going to acorn.tv and use promo code Jen. I'll have that linked in the description box below, so make sure that you check it out. Okay, so we are going to make some 5-ingredient chicken noodle soup in the Instant Pot. Here are the ingredients I have for this recipe. I have 1 whole chicken. You could also use regular chicken on the bone if you wanted to, or chicken breasts or chicken thighs. I also have some egg noodles, about 2 cups of those, some carrots, some fresh parsley, and some celery. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to cook my chicken. So since I have a whole chicken, I'm going to place that in my Instant Pot. Okay, so once the chicken is in the pot, I'm going to add about 8 cups of water. Next, I'm going to add some celery, and I'm also going to season this with salt and pepper. I also added some of those parsley stems to the pot, and I'm just going to lock that lid on, and then I will go ahead and cook this on high or manual pressure for 24 minutes, and then I will let it do a natural pressure release just to make sure that when I let the pressure go that it doesn't spew all over the place. Sometimes I do have that problem. I want to know in the comments down below, how do you guys feel about Instant Pots? I know that sometimes they are a rather polarizing subject. Some people love their Instant Pot. Some people are scared of them. Some people have purchased one and it's still in the box. Let me know if you have one and if you use it a lot, or if you're scared to use it. I would like to do like an Instant Pot for beginners video. So yeah, let me know your thoughts down below. But next, what I'm going to do is start cutting up all of my veggies for the soup. Now, in the spirit of 5-ingredient recipes, I did just use carrots and celery and parsley in this particular recipe, but if you have onion and garlic, I think that would make a really great addition as well. And to make it even easier, I'm using baby carrots and just cutting those into bite-sized pieces. Next, I'm going to get my celery cut up. I prefer to chop this in as small of pieces as I can. And honestly, my kids aren't that big of fans of pre-cooked, or not pre-cooked, but cooked celery. But they did eat it in this soup. Actually, both my kids really like this. So if you have kids at home, even picky kids, I think this is a fantastic Instant Pot recipe for you to try. Super easy, quick, and crowd pleasing. Okay, so here is our chicken after it's done cooking. So you can see there that all of the veggies are cooked, and as a byproduct of cooking the chicken in water, we now have chicken stock to make our chicken noodle soup with. So I'm just going to carefully try to remove this with my tongs and put it into a baking dish and let it cool. I like to let it sit for probably about 10 minutes before I shred the meat off. Next, I'm going to add my egg noodles and my chopped up celery and carrots and put the lid on, and then I'm going to set this on high pressure for 2 minutes. That's all you need for the noodles and the veggies to cook. Once that's done, I'm going to add the shredded chicken in along with some more chopped parsley and give this a stir. At this point, you just want to season it to your taste, so you can add more salt and pepper or whatever you'd like. While that is resting, I'm going to go ahead and make some cheddar biscuits. So in this food processor here, I'm going to add some flour. Next, I'm going to add some baking powder, and then I will also add some salt and some sugar. I will have all of these recipes either linked or typed out down below, so don't miss those as well if you're looking for them. Now, this particular recipe is sort of a copycat of the Cheddar Bay biscuits from Red Lobster. If you've never had those before, they're really good. So I'm going to add some cubed cold butter to the food processor, and I also added 3 tablespoons of shortening, and then I'm just going to pulse that until everything comes together. I have about 2 cups of shredded sharp cheddar cheese here, and I'm just going to add that to the food processor as well, and then I will give that a pulse. And after that, you can just add your wet ingredients until it comes together. The food processor makes this super easy to put together. You don't have to knead it. You don't have to roll it out. You don't have to get your counter dirty. Super, super simple. So I'm going to go ahead and pulse that milk in. You can also use half and half if you don't have milk on hand. And then you just want to drop these onto a baking sheet. I just have a baking sheet lined with parchment paper here. And I'm using one of my cookie scoops. I believe this is like one of those 2 tablespoon cookie scoops. I did try to overfill it a little bit. The original recipe said like a scant 1/4 cup of dough is what you wanted. I wouldn't make them much bigger than that because they will obviously cook quickly on the outside before they have a chance to get done on the inside. But if you've never tried this recipe before, I highly recommend it. It's really good and it goes really good with any kind of soup. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and get my cheddar biscuits into the oven and let those bake. I believe it's at 425. Don't quote me on that. Once again, I'll have the recipe down below. And then after they are out of the oven and they're still hot, you want to brush some melted butter on them. So I have some butter that I melted in a saucepan along with some crushed garlic, and then I put some minced flat leaf parsley in there. So you just want to brush a little bit of these over the top. Don't skip that step because that's what makes these garlicky and delicious. All right, so here is our completed 5-ingredient dinner tonight. We have our delicious homemade chicken noodle soup. Like I said, everyone loved this and it turned out so good. Highly recommended for these chilly nights that we've been having, and then had those Cheddar Bay biscuits on the side. We also made some fruit salad, and this was a delicious hearty dinner. Okay, so next up, I am going to share a recipe for salmon with rice and cucumber salad. I have some basmati rice here that I rinsed and let dry, and I'm just going to toast this up in my Instant Pot in a little bit of olive oil. Now, I'm kind of cheating with this recipe, you guys, because I'm going to make the salmon in the air fryer and I'm making the rice in the Instant Pot, but I did make sure that the entire meal only had 5 ingredients, including the salmon and the cucumber and everything. So give me some grace. With this one, I'm just kidding. So in my pot with my rice, I added some chicken bouillon powder to that, some salt and pepper, and some water. And I'm just going to cook this on high pressure for 6 minutes. Let it do a natural pressure release, and you'll have the most perfect, fluffiest rice that you will ever eat. And along with this, we are going to make some cucumber salad. So this original dish is basically sort of like a sushi rice, and then you have this cucumber salad on the side with the salmon on top. It's really, really good. Even if you like sushi, even if you don't like sushi, actually, I would try it. My kids ate this recipe up. My kids love salmon and they love cucumbers and they love rice. So any combination of that is definitely good. But I'm just basically cutting this cucumber in half and slicing it into half moons and getting it into a bowl. Okay, so in with the cucumbers, I'm going to add some rice vinegar and some sesame oil. So the 5 ingredients for this particular meal are sesame oil, vinegar, cucumbers, rice, and salmon. That's it. Obviously, we're using salt and pepper and olive oil, but you wouldn't think that this dish would be so delicious with just these simple flavors, but I assure you that it is. So after I added the sesame oil, I'm going to season it with salt and pepper and just give this a stir. Okay, so I've got some salmon here, and I'm just going to take this out of the package and add it to some paper towels to dry off. Again, I'm going to be making this in my air fryer. If you've never tried to make salmon in the air fryer before, it's super easy and it comes out really great each time. If you don't have an air fryer, just go ahead and either cook this in the oven, or you could also sear it in a skillet. All of them are good. So for the salmon fillets, I'm just going to season these really simply with salt and pepper. You could get more fancy with this, but obviously that's going to be more ingredients. Okay, so here is my seasoned salmon. I just put it on some foil in the air fryer, and I just like to use the fish button, which I believe cooks it at like 375 for 8 minutes, which normally ends up being just about perfect. Here is my rice after it was done cooking. My pot is sliding around here, but you can see that it is perfectly cooked, nice and fluffy. To the rice, I'm going to add some rice vinegar, and I also added some salt and pepper and some sesame oil and just gave that a stir to season it. Here is the completed plate. We have the seasoned rice with the salmon on top and some cucumber salad on the side. Highly recommend this super simple recipe. Once again, my kids wolfed it down. I will definitely be making this one again. Okay, so next up for 5-ingredient Instant Pot meals is a Tuscan beef stew. So for this one, we're gonna need some chuck roast. This is one that I just thawed out that was in my freezer, and then I cut it into large chunks. I've got some fresh rosemary, some fresh garlic, some tomato paste, and some red wine, and I've got my Instant Pot here as well. And then we will need some like pantry staple items, salt, pepper, maybe some water, and some flour. Okay, so the original recipe that I'm kind of adapting this from actually calls for both onion and garlic, but I wanted to keep it under 5 ingredients, so I decided to omit the onion and use just garlic because I felt like it would have more flavor that way. But if you have onion on hand, I think you can obviously add some to this and it would be just fine, although I don't think it's absolutely necessary. So some of you guys have asked me about this little garlic peeler before. It's just like a little rubber tube that I got on Amazon, and it works really well to peel garlic. I have seen before where people like put cloves of garlic in a jar and shake it up and the peels come off. I've tried that several times and it's never worked for me, but maybe I'm just doing it wrong. I have no idea. So anyway, I'm gonna tediously peel about 12 cloves of garlic, and then I'll show you how we put this together. Okay, so I've got my Instant Pot on the saute setting, and I'm just gonna add a couple tablespoons of oil, olive oil to the bottom. And then I'm just gonna leave these garlic cloves whole but smashed, and I'm just gonna saute these for a couple minutes. Just watch them, make sure they don't burn. I just went ahead and used the whole bulb of garlic, but if you're counting cloves, I would say anywhere between 10 to 12 cloves of garlic. Okay, so these are starting to get pretty brown. I definitely don't want them to burn, so I'm gonna go ahead and pour in my 2 cups of wine. And then I'm just gonna wait until this comes up to a simmer and stir in the 3 tablespoons of tomato paste. Okay, so my wine is simmering, and I'm gonna put in 3 tablespoons of tomato paste, which is, well, pretty much the rest of this whole jar that I'm gonna add. I think it was Juliana who sent me these cute little rainbow spatulas, so thank you. I sent you a thank you note. You should have gotten it already. Okay, so let me just stir this together, and we'll make sure that the tomato paste gets all incorporated and this comes to a bubble. Okay, so I'm gonna turn this off. I'm gonna add about 1 tablespoon of pepper, and then I'm gonna go ahead and add my chuck roast. I'm gonna season this with 2 teaspoons of salt, and I'll give this a stir until everything is combined. After you mix the tomato paste with the red wine, it kind of looks like barbecue sauce. Doesn't smell like barbecue sauce, but looks like it. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and put the lid on, and we're gonna cook this on high or manual pressure for 25 minutes. And then once it's done cooking, we'll do a 15-minute natural pressure release. You know what I did? I totally forgot to add the rosemary. I was getting ready to clean stuff up, and I was like, huh, I don't think I put that in there. So here we are, putting in the rosemary. There we go. All right, so the beef is done. I let it do a natural pressure release, which just means not to release the pressure until it all naturally releases on its own. And then I turn this back up to saute, because what we're gonna do now is I've got 3 tablespoons of flour in this measuring cup, and I'm gonna add about 1/2 cup of the cooking liquid to there. And then I'm just gonna whisk this up until it forms a paste. And then the flour is going to go back into here, and I'm just going to stir it around until it thickens into a gravy. And then I'll taste it, add more salt and pepper if it needs it. Super easy. It smells really good. I think you could probably make this with whatever roast you have, you know, whatever's on sale or whatever you have in your freezer. If you have like an arm roast, chuck roast, I even think you could probably make this with sirloin. Rosemary sprig out. Okay, so I tasted this. It does not need any pepper. I think that it's already spicy enough with all the pepper that I added to begin with, but I am gonna add the remainder of the rosemary, so just about another, I don't know, couple teaspoons or so. Give this a stir. All right, so here is my completed Tuscan beef stew. Yes, I know it doesn't look very impressive right now, but that's because I'm actually meal prepping this for later this week. So here's the deal with this. As made like this, obviously it's 5 ingredients. However, you probably want to serve it with something like mashed potatoes or egg noodles or rice. If you're living that keto life, you could do mashed cauliflower or rice cauliflower. But the important part is that it tastes good. And I'm going to put some foil on this and put it in the fridge. And when I want to make it during the week, I can just pop it back in the oven, heat it through, make some noodles, make a veggie, and boom, we've got dinner. So highly recommend this, especially if you've got some wine to use up. You know, sometimes you have like half a bottle of red wine you don't know what to do with. This would be perfect for that and to use up some beef. All right, well, that is going to wrap it up for today's video. Thank you guys so much for coming along with me. Don't forget to check out Acorn TV. I'll have that linked down below. You can claim your free 30-day trial there. Thanks again for your support, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.